Next one is from Mike. Hey, John, Indiana Jones 5 is getting yet another rewrite for the script by Dan Fogelman. Since this movie has had such a troubled production and it continues to get pushed further and further back in release date, do you think there's a chance Lucasfilm pulls the plug on this movie?
You know, Rob, it's May. The Indiana Jones 5 movie was supposed to be coming out in 2 months. Originally, the release date was a couple of months from now. And obviously, they're not even anywhere near starting to shoot this thing. I believe Harrison Ford is, what is he now, 72?
Maybe even more.
Let's go to the magic. Hey, Google, how old is Harrison Ford?
Harrison Ford is 76 years old.
I'm sorry, he's 76.
Wow.
Which means at the earliest they'll start shooting this thing is when he's 77. And the earliest this movie will come out, they're saying it's 2021, which I also don't believe is going to happen. He's going to be 78 years old when this comes out. Which, let's face it, and let's be honest, he looks better at 76 than I ever will in my life. And I'm sure he will at 78 as well. But how long can you be the action hero? Now, what's interesting is speaking of John Kasdan, who's trying to get the Willow Project going, he wrote the most recent draft of the Indiana Jones script, and apparently they've decided not to go in that direction. Now, from what we're hearing, his draft was going to focus around Indy searching for this legendary lost Nazi train that was filled with gold. Now, imagine like a half-mile-long train just filled with gold, and I mean, that could change the balance of power in the world if suddenly somebody came across that much money. But apparently, the word is, what the whispers are, is that they wanted a little bit of a supernatural element to it, like we got with Temple of Doom, like we got with the original Raiders, all that kind of stuff. Now, what is interesting to me, Rob, is that by bringing they're getting a guy like Dan Fogelman, who is enjoying right now absolutely ridiculous success with This Is Us. It's probably the most talked about TV show going right now. And one of the guys, who was responsible for introducing me and Ann together, Milo Ventimiglia, is the star of that show. So there you go. But at this point, Rob, we've got to be getting to a point where you can only push this off so long. And you got to ask the question, at this point, can you even do it? They're going to be shooting this thing, if everything goes well, with a total rewrite, and who knows how long it's going to take. He's going to be you're doing an Indiana Jones movie with a 77-year-old Indiana Jones. Is this thing even going to happen, Rob? The bottom line, is this movie even going to happen?
I don't know. I think the character of Indiana Jones, his globe-trotting nature, he's basically become Henry Jones, his father. He's become the Sean Connery character. He's
now, I think, 12 years older than Sean Connery was when they did that movie.
Yeah. So look, I think any story can be made to work.
Sure.
And I think I'd love to see Harrison Ford strap it all on, but even an 88-year-old dude, is he going to go around in khaki pants, a leather jacket, his fedora, and have his bullwhip? I mean,
if any 78-year-old dude could do it, it's Harrison Ford. I think we all agree on that.
Absolutely, but I mean, he's got to play the more wizened sage, and there's maybe a cadre of people going with him. I think if they made this a team movie, like the team gathers around Indiana Jones, they could make it. I think it could be really, really cool. And again, look what they did with Sylvester Stallone. Look what Ryan Coogler did with Sylvester Stallone in Creed. And what they did, that he got an Academy Award nomination for that.
What Stallone continues to do in Expendables. I mean, they're not Shakespeare movies, but look what he does in those movies.
Clint Eastwood, man, still screaming at kids to get off his lawn in his mid-70s.
But that's what he's doing, is screaming at kids to get off his lawn.
Sure, but I mean, look, again, it depends on story. It depends on how they approach this. If they just approach it like a standard Indiana Jones adventure again, it's gonna be a little unbelievable, I think. But
what year did Crystal Skull come out?
Oh man, I don't know.
Do you got a ballpark? I can't.
It's got to be 10 years, more than 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, and I remember at that I was like, okay, Harrison, he can still do it. Now we're fast forwarding like another decade more. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Ashley, let me throw this over to you for a second. As you're hearing about all this stuff. You're seeing this thing get delayed more and more and more. At this point, as a film fan sitting back and just watching all this unfold, Are you feeling optimistic that this movie's actually going to happen? Like, do you think, yeah, they'll still get it done, or are you starting to wonder if it's even going to happen?
I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen. I hope it does because I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. I mean, who isn't? But I am very surprised that you just said that was the synopsis of the film that's what they thought. I thought, he was going to just have like a son that pops up who's like 18 years old and then all of a sudden
they tried to do that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But some sort of like mentorship again situation, not having him as like the leading action man at this point. He's like, it's going to be a little unbelievable, like Rob was saying. But
unless they completely change Indy's approach to this new adventure, if they're going to show him bullwhipping and swinging across things, maybe not. I don't know. But again, it's Harrison Ford. The guy's an icon.
Maybe they'll do a virtual reality like situation.
Yes, the virtual reality.
He's sitting in his chair.
I mean, it's funny in the continuity of the movies that, in his terms of his age, the first movies took place in 1936. Raiders was 36 in South America or something, and he was in his early 30s, so 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, you're looking, the movie has to take place in the 60s or 70s now, so what's he going to do?
Well, didn't Kingdom of the Crystal Skull take place in like the
50s?
No. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was like, was much later than that.
No, I thought it was the 50s, the Red Scare and the aliens
But it was when the Russians, because his main things were the Russians at that point.
Yeah.
And wasn't that a little bit further on wasn't that into the 60s?
I don't think so. Or maybe it would, but I thought it was more like the Wild One, Marlon Brando, he's wearing the...
I'm not going to pretend that I'm well versed in the lore of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So
me neither.
You might be absolutely right on that.
Me neither.